Okay. Make that muted. Okay, hello everyone. Hello. How's everybody doing? It is unseasonably hot here today, and it is like, phew. I don't know if anybody lives somewhere where it's warm all the time, but I couldn't handle it. It is severely annoying, especially since it's October and it's supposed to be, 60s, 50s, and it's freaking hot. Phew, it is annoying. Just making sure I share this across the board here. Just give me a second. I have already got stories picked out for us. Yeah, just a second. I think I did that wrong. Okay. Hello, Logan, Damn Gypsy, Jamsman Animations, Bernadette. There was someone, Chris was there up there in the beginning, but I don't see him now. Jamsmat Animations, are you the one that was going to do an animation of one of my narrations? I can't remember. There was an animator that used to come in and he was going to do that. Hey, Bad Vibes. Yeah, how hot is it right now in Southern California? Like super hot? I couldn't handle it. There's no way. I dream of living somewhere tropical, but I'm pretty sure that's just going to always be a dream because it's too... Oh, hello, Brian. It's too warm to be... Ugh. I don't know. I think I'd rather try and warm up than cool off, but visit the hot. Definitely, it's annoying. It's... Ew. I have picked out for us a bunch of stories. The first one is, and I don't think that I've read this, so you guys are going to have to let me know, 50 real-life incidents that are straight out of the X-Files. And then the other one is, shoot, what is it called? The Scariest Unsolved Mysteries of All Time. And there's like 41 of them, so we've got a nice chunk of stories here to go over, just in case anybody was wondering. Yeah, I wish don't you live in Michigan too, Damn Gypsy? I mean, it's like we have winter and summer here. We have 2 seasons. I love fall. That's my favorite season. Hey, Antonio. But I don't love fall when it's 85 degrees. No. Not a fan of that at all. It's too warm. Phew. So isn't it hot where you're at too, right? Damn Gypsy? Are you in the UP or something? Phew. I can't handle it. But the thing about Michigan is when it's hot, it's not just like a dry heat. It's humid. And so, like, it's suffocating. Yeah. We have winter, fall, and construction season. Well, a fall here is about 2 weeks long, just like spring. So, like, it goes from, like, cold winter, and then it teases for a second, winter, teases for a second, winter, spring, summer. And then it's October, and we could probably go swimming right now outside if we wanted to. And then, like, in 2 weeks from now, it could snow. Oh my gosh. Grand Ledge. Where the heck is Grand Ledge? We are around 40 degrees. Oh, didn't you say you're in Colorado, Bernadette? That's right. I keep thinking that you still live in Hawaii. Let's see, the city decided to work on my road, so I have no water. Oh, that sucks. That's terrible. How long will you be without water? I wait for the pause. Oh, by Lansing. So it's hot there. Yeah. You're hot there. And the thing is I don't want to turn the air conditioning on for a day or 2 days or 3 days because we just turned it off. And we just had the heat on. We literally just had the furnace on like 2 days ago because it was so cold. It felt like it could snow. Oh my gosh. That blows. Okay. I hope everybody's doing good besides Logan who has no water. That sucks. Okay. We're going to get into these stories right now. I made sure I went and got them and grabbed them and put them in a Word document so I wouldn't have to wait to see if my computer got, temperamental on me. Seems like a day like that. Seems like a day like that or it would be like that. So, I'm pretty sure I've never read these before. So you guys are going to let me know if I have. We're going to start with 50 creepy real life incidents that are straight out of the X-Files. Okay, here's the first one. And I'm not going to try and keep count. I'm going to lose count. Let's just be fair. Actually, I could just do this. Just number them as I go, and then I'll know what they are. Okay, so number 1. Let me preface this with my morning routine. Wake up at 4:30 a.m., out the door by 5:15. Clock in at work at 5:50 a.m. Never fails unless major traffic incident on the highway. Anyhow, one morning this past August, I'm out the door as usual, minimal traffic on the road. Boss calls me halfway through my commute. Hey, you coming in? I say, yeah, why do you ask? Boss says it's 6:30 a.m. and you usually call if you're going to be late. I look at my dashboard and yep, it's 6:30 a.m. Somewhere between leaving my door and getting on the road, I lost an hour. Whoa. Okay, I know I've never read that. That's crazy. Has anybody had anything like that happen to them before? That's nuts. I had something similar happen to me. How long can a person go without water? I think technically it's 72 hours. But I mean, you should still go get some water. Actually, I had something like that happen to me where I got up really early. I got my daughter ready for school. I got there and no one was there yet. And then I looked at the clock. The clock was right. Then I looked at my phone. My ex-husband had changed all the clocks in the house and then even in the car to an hour and a half ahead, just to be a dick. So, yeah. Sometimes people are just assholes to you. That's what I suspect happened to this guy, but he doesn't really, go into much detail. Anyway, back to the stories. All right. Number 2, because I'm numbering them as I go. So it was early evening after the sun had gone down, and I was downstairs in the living room watching TV. My brother was up in our bedroom reading. At some point, this really uncomfortable feeling came over me, and I thought that my brother needed my help. I go upstairs, and our bedroom at the same time was at the end of the hallway. As I walked down the hallway, and I'm standing right outside our door, and right as I go to knock, I hear a voice say, I have to leave now. He opened the door. Said, I think someone was outside the window talking to me, but the only thing I heard them say was that they had to leave. We were both creeped out, told our mom what happened, but nothing ever came of it. For a long, long time, I thought I had dreamt this, but a few years ago, my brother asked me, hey, remember that time when we were kids and someone was talking to me through the bedroom window? Remember how he left right when you came in? What the hell was that? Because he remembered it exactly the way I do. And I'm convinced this really happened. Well, of course it really happened. Probably some crazy person that used to watch you guys outside of your window. Creepy. You can go longer without eating. Would it be bad if I called the hospital? Huh? I mean, how long have you been without water? You mean to drink? I mean, are you really far from a store? Do you have other things you can drink in your refrigerator? Like orange juice or anything? Maybe a ventriloquist. You've done some creepy things? Okay. I'll come back. Like creepy. You've done some creepy things? Oh God. That sounds like a whole nother live stream. All right. This is number 3. One day I'm over at a friend's house. We go into the kitchen and do something. Both him and I are moving around the kitchen. All of a sudden, we hear a pop. And then there's a small spot of orange gooey stuff on my friend's shirt. To this day, we have no idea what it was. We looked around the entire kitchen and didn't find anything that looked similar to the goo. We just chalked it up to interdimensional being jizzing at my friend. It kind of sounds like somebody was pranking you and set it up so that like honey mustard would pop on your shirt. But, you know, most people are either skeptical or jump right to the paranormal. Oh my God. What? Don't drink your pee. That is an extreme scenario. And you would have to, oh my God, no. Almost all day, I don't drive. Oh no. Do you have any neighbors, Logan? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Animations, it's a prank. Okay, number 4. My wife calling my name. Nothing unusual about that except that I did not hear it with my ears. I was listening to Led Zeppelin in my time of dying on the stereo, and it was cranked up. I heard it in my mind. I walked to the bathroom as I knew my wife was taking a bath. I found her face down in the water, and she was unconscious, having suffered a seizure. And fortunately, I found her just in time. Holy crap, that's not scary. That's awesome. What? Sometimes you just stumble onto something cool like that. Whoa. Oh my goodness. Logan, you should go ask a neighbor for some water. Oh, yeah, but they might have something in their fridge that you can drink. Damn, Juicy, please expound. Oh my God. 2 nights ago, I dressed as the lady in white with white wig and walked around late at night. Bernadette. That's awesome. Just to freak people out. Let's see. I was sitting at my computer with my door kind of cracked open, enough to where I could see out. My door is right next to my desk, so I can see out. I then see like 5 men in suits walk up the stairs and start walking to my room. I should be freaking out, but I can't seem to move my head. Then they reach my room and kick the door open all the way. Then suddenly I can move my head again. All the men are gone, but my door was wide open. Still freaks me out to think about it. Whoa. So that's like sleep paralysis, but like amplified. That's crazy. Yeah, like a Men in Black sleep paralysis thing. Yeah, that's crazy. Whoa. Number 6. Nothing too crazy, but definitely creeped my wife and I out. So we have a Wii. Remember a Nintendo Wii? I love that thing. Anyway, the sensor bar is on the TV stand directly in front of the TV, as is anyone's. We don't have the cord wrapped up or anything. It just hangs behind the TV in a jumble. So one night we're watching TV cuddling on the couch when suddenly the Wii sensor bar literally flies across the room till it got the end of its length and fell to the floor. Like someone grabbed it and chucked it across the room. We could find no explanation for this whatsoever. We had a cat and a dog at the time, but the cat was sleeping in another room, and the dog was on the couch with us. We did have several birthday cards on the top of the TV on display, and one of them was on the ground. So the only thing I could think was that somehow we missed the card falling and it hit the cord, and voila. It wouldn't fly forward. It would have like knocked it to the side and down. I know this because anybody that's had a Wii sensor and had a bunch of crap by it knows that It doesn't fly out. It flies like behind, and then it gets caught in the jumble of cord behind the TV. Now, come on. I tried for 10 minutes to throw that card as hard as I could at it, at that cord, and it didn't even move the bar from its place on the TV stand. Eventually, we chalked it up to just, what the fuck? Wow. Crazy. Check the chat. Hey, Paul, Kate, hello. Damn Gypsy. Oh, you did? Awesome. I only have one piece of fan art from the, and that person is going to win the thing because no one else turned in any fan art. Or no, I think, yeah, there's only one person that did. Damn Gypsy. Okay, when I was younger, I had stalker tendencies, and after my ex broke up with me, I would hang outside her house and watch TV through the window. That was 15 years ago, though. Oh my God. Wow, that's pretty brave, though, to admit that to people that you see in a chat often. How many people here have like went to another, well, I mean, you all do, right? Go to YouTube videos and make comments. But I swear, like the last 3 or 4 times that I've done it in the last few weeks, oh my gosh, the amount of responses. It's usually because I say something just totally innocent, but everyone takes it the totally wrong way. And I'll show you guys in a little bit what I'm talking about so you can be like, what the hell? There's actually 2, 3. I think there was 2 that stick out. I know there was another one. But there's 2 that stick out, and one was on somebody had a video about Joe Rogan, and it wasn't Joe Rogan, but someone had a video talking about how he's like a stand-up person who's very direct. And anyway, I'm getting off topic, Squirrel, but I just wondered if anybody else has experienced that, where you just like make a comment and then everyone attacks you and like makes it into something that it's not. I'll explain that later. Anyway, moving on. This is number 7. My cousin and I both remember a room that apparently doesn't even exist. When we were both around 10, my cousin was having family problems, and my mom invited her to stay with us while I got sorted out. It was pretty fun, kind of like having a temporary sister. We ended up talking about it a few years ago, reminiscing about the weird things we would do together and some of the memories that stood out the most. Among them, the night we stayed up laughing at my golden retriever, who kept trying to steal my pillow off the bottom bunk when we were trying to go to sleep. The only problem was, we didn't have a dog, and I never had a bunk bed. For whatever reason, I'd never considered how little sense the memory made. Thinking maybe she was just going along with the story, I asked her what the color of the bed frame was. She thought about it for a second and then answered, red. She was right. According to my mom, we never stayed over at anyone else's house, and even if we had, I still remember what her friends' houses looked like. None of them had red bunk beds. I still have no idea what happened. Carbon monoxide, maybe? That's all I can guess. Let me see here. Were you cyber mobbed? Kind of. I'll show you guys later. It was not like a million, but there's like thousands of them, so I'll show you what I'm talking about later. Let's see. I had something similar as a child at daycare. This is number 8. It was getting to the end of the day, and we only had a few of us kids were left, so they had us all move toward a room in the front. We were walking down the hall in single file, turn a corner, and suddenly, everyone disappeared. It's gotten darker outside. I freak out, run around, looking for someone, and eventually find them. The only remaining thing I recall is them telling me my mother said she'd be late. They never acted as if I was gone. But why did I have to go find someone if I'm at daycare? Shouldn't someone have been with me already? Ha! Obviously, you haven't watched the news lately. Ugh. Daycares have gotten worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Just like, oh my God. Let me see. Oh, good. That's good. Coconut milk. That's nice. Make sure you thank them. That's really nice. Good neighbors. I do. We're gonna do a live stream and read the story submissions. Just like Stranger Things. Yeah, that's weird. Okay. Number 9. And this one's kind of beefy. I mean, it's longer than a paragraph, so just a longer paragraph. Number 9. When I was 19 and my best friend was 20, we're nearly 40 now. We were driving back to my house after visiting someone at work. We were on a somewhat busy road. It was getting dark, but wasn't quite dark yet. There were street lights and business lights everywhere, so visibility was still great. This road was 3 lanes in each direction, and there was a concrete median dividing the traffic. I was in the left lane next to the median, and a traffic light was coming up. I saw a man standing in the median a good way before where the crosswalk for the light would be. It instantly made me nervous. As soon as I thought that, he stepped out to cross the street. My best friend and I both instantly braced ourselves for impact as I slammed on my brakes. We went right through him. We didn't hit him, and because there was a car to my right, I wasn't able to swerve out of my lane to avoid hitting the man. I looked in my rearview mirror, and there wasn't anyone there. I had come to a complete stop, and we physically turned around in our seats to see how he had jumped out of the way. There wasn't anyone there, and no way he could have ran off or hidden anywhere that fast. I lost my train of thought. Okay. We both turned toward each other and almost in sync asked each other, "Did you see that man?" We both saw the same thing. A man. Couldn't describe his face, but it was a man's form, and both of us remember being confused as to why he was wearing a white robe, and both being terrified that he stepped out in front of us, like he was committing suicide. I had a baby in the back seat. She was 3 months old. She had been crying during the drive and went silent when we came to a screeching stop, which added to the weirdness of it all. We still bring it up occasionally, and neither of us can come up with an explanation for what we saw other than something supernatural. We both saw the white cloth fling across the windshield, like he was hitting the car. But there was no impact. Nothing. It was like he went through the car. Whoa. Now, if this happened in modern day, I would say that somebody had a drone and we're just screwing with them, but, you know. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Twilight is my least favorite book. Yeah, yeah. I think that they could have done it a lot better. I think that visually it was pretty. The movie was pretty. Anyways. I feel so off today because it's hot. Let me see here. And my computer chair is super loud too, so sorry about that. Number 10. I remember spending the night with my mom at this one farmhouse near where my grandparents lived. I remember the exterior and interior, and we used to actually drive past it every single time we traveled to visit my grandparents. Problem is, nobody else remembers. Says we never knew the people who lived there. Years ago, when I was home from college, I saw that farmhouse for sale online. What got me was number 1, it was exactly like I remembered the inside being. And number 2, the house had never changed owners, so it had never been up for sale in my lifetime. The only explanation is that my mom was a drug addict when I was younger. We all claim and state she never did drugs in front of us or brought us with her to pick them up or anything. But it's the only explanation I have. that my mom knew the people there. We spent the night, but she had to maintain we never knew them. So there's no proof. But how the fuck could I remember that house so vividly? Ooh. I've had very vivid dreams about other people's houses. Many times. Yeah, in houses I've never been, and then I go to their house, so I wonder if I'm like a living ghost that haunts their house. Okay. Just think of the pranks you could pull on people back in time with the technology we have now. You can convince people of crazy things. Yeah. Yeah, I guess you could. It's a lot of energy spent on something that's I mean, it's one thing if you're just being funny. It's another if you want to drive someone insane. Just yeah. I don't know. I actually had two actually I have a dream every single night. I know that most people don't. Um I only remember one of them, but my husband said I was talking in my sleep this past like it was a few days ago. He got up to go to the bathroom. I think it was like 4 o'clock in the morning or something. And he said he thought I was awake because I don't think I sat up in bed, but I said, "Well, he can suck it." And that's all I said, and I have no recollection of what I was dreaming about. And then the next night, I had a dream that Jason from Halloween was like trying to kill us, and he turned off our power. And the only way to keep him from killing us is we had to play his movie on a camcorder and hook it up to a small screen that we had attached to the camcorder. And as long as we played that movie, he wouldn't kill us. But the problem is he cut the power, so the battery kept dying, so he'd almost kill us like a bunch of times. I don't know. Crazy. Ooh. Should write it down. Write it down when you have experiences like that. I mean, make it clear that you're not claiming this is, you have no idea how this information comes to you. Trust your gut. I say trust your gut. There's people that are gifted with second sight, and sometimes that's what that is. Number 11. When I was a little kid, I could see into the hallway that connected my room to the house. It was a short hallway, maybe 8 feet long. I just happened to wake up for whatever reason, and an orb of light shot down the hallway, literally in a flash. It was so fast. All I could tell was it was an orb of light. At first, I thought it was a reflected car headlight or something, but we live way out in the country, and there were no cars in the drive. Plus, there was no way light could reflect back into the hallway. 3 walls of the house are embedded in the hill. Very energy efficient. I like how they added that little tidbit of information about their house. Smart. Yeah, that's all, just as a portion of them. Huh. Ball lightning. Okay. um, Number 12. I had a job as a security guard in a 100-plus-year-old building. A cop had been shot to death on the stairs 60 years ago, and the stairs are about 6 feet from my watch desk in the center of the middle of the floor of this building. We're open until midnight each night, and usually no one came in, but the staff sometimes worked late. So when I heard someone walking down the stairs, huge wooden stairwell that terraces and splits to go up another level, I didn't really think anything of it. The footsteps stop at my desk, so I close my shift report and look up. Nothing. No one, nothing, no change, nada. I thought I was hallucinating due to lack of sleep, so I played along with my delirium. I went back to filling out my report. And on a lark, I said, I have no idea what you're looking to do, but we're both stuck here, so if you don't mind, I have a report to fill out, so please excuse me. About 10 seconds later, the steps started away from me going back up the stairs. I was terrified, way too scared to actually look back up. But after that, I never had another issue in the building. Was I freaking out? Or did I crack up a 60-year-old dead cop ghost? Who knows? Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Yeah, but that's what they say you're supposed to do. This one's really short, so I'll just say it before I check the chat again. But number 13 says, in high school, my pal bounced a bouncy ball in his room so hard that we never saw it again. We tore that room up and we never found it. Oh my God. How many people have done that? We've done that. If you want to know where anything missing is went, check your couch. That's what I found. Oh my God. Swamp gas for sure. Number 14. I worked the overnight shift at an AM radio station back in the 90s. Saw a car come to the driveway to the parking lot. Went out to see who it was, and the car was just gone. I would have seen it if it turned around or backed out. Thought I was going nuts until the announcer strolled out of the studio and said, "What happened to that car?" I mean, isn't it possible that they just turned off their lights and turned around? Or maybe that they turned off their lights and drove off of the driveway? Dun dun dun. I'm making it worse. I did start to read them in there. I haven't been writing them down, Brian. I need to write them down again because usually when I do make a video, and I've explained this to other people before, I've always had really, really vivid dreams. And I noticed that when I make videos, I don't have them as much or at all. So it's really unusual that I had one. I know that the night that I had the nightmare, I didn't make a video that day. So that's all I can explain. It's like it built up because I'd been making so many videos in a row. Then it was like poof, which is weird because my serial killer Saturday was about Freddy Krueger and not Jason or what the heck is the guy's name from Michael Myers? One vision I had was a woman in the 1940s and had very pointy boobs. I was covered in blood. Oh yeah, the pointy boobs is from how they used to starch their bras. Yeah. It was like the thing to make sure your boobs looked pointy like that. Beautiful. Moving on. Number 15. I heard a voice in my mind, but I thought it was with my ears. My dad and I had communicated with each other telepathically twice in a span of 30 minutes when we were on a road trip. Completely zoned out. No music in the car. Complete silence. He had asked himself a question in his head, and I answered him. He was so freaked out that I heard him. Then shortly after that, I started thinking of a random TV show, completely unrelated to our brief conversation prior. And then right on cue, he started whistling the theme song. That's awesome to be that connected to another person. Am I the only one that's excited about that? Or does that freak other people out? Weaponized. Yeah. Think Austin Powers. Was it 1 or 2 that happened? Number 16. I was 6 and my brother was 10. We had a 21-year-old foster brother who lived with us on and off. One night I woke up to see him standing in the doorway of my room, checking on me. I said his name in a questioning voice. He said, "It's okay. Go back to sleep." Around the same time, my brother woke up in tears. He said he'd had a dream about a knight standing on a hill, and it made him feel very sad. Oh no, it turns out our brother had died in a car crash that evening. Oh no. Oh no. Whew. Number 17. I saw my mom holding my baby sister in her arms and taking her to bed. Not weird, right? My mom was still pregnant with my sister at the time. I went to the kitchen and saw her still in there, still pregnant. I didn't even bother going to my bedroom to see who just went in there. Just nope. Stay in living room, mind my own business. I wonder how many people would do that. You see an apparition walking through your house and you're like, nah, I'm not gonna pay attention to that one. I'm just gonna leave that alone there. Oh my God. Number 18. Okay. This one scared me for a couple of months. When I was in high school, a guy and I got into an argument. He socked me in the jaw and started to fall to the floor. When I hit the floor, I instantly transported to a dinner table at which I was an adult. There was a woman sitting across from me with a toddler boy and a preteen girl. I got a good look of my surroundings. A relatively modern house with what looked like 2 floors. I felt like I belonged there. Like I had some sort of emotional connection with all the people in the room, especially the kids. Then the woman, I guess my wife, asked me a question. When I opened my mouth, I threw up all over the table and woke up in a stretcher in an ambulance. Hours later, I found out I had just had a minor concussion. For a while, I felt like I left a part of my life behind, even if it was only for a bleak moment in that world. To this day, I can still clearly remember all their faces and what the house looked like. Oh, I thought he was going to say, like, he met that lady and they got married and had kids. That would have been so awesome. Never hear anything like that. Hello, Jen Bartnick. Me, I'd walk away. We are first reading 50, I can't remember what they're called. 50 unexplained stories. We're on number 19. So 6 years ago, I was hanging out with my siblings in our yard during a clear, sunny day around high noon, and I suddenly caught something moving in the sky out of the corner of my eye. When I turned to get a better look, I couldn't reconcile what the fuck I was seeing. It was a metal cube just gliding through the air pretty high up. I proceeded to absolutely lose my shit, and my siblings saw it as well before it disappeared behind some trees. We ran to the other side of the trees, but it was already gone. Still creeps me out to think about it. We did live right next to a military base, so make of that what you will. Things had all the aerodynamics of a literal brick, though. Huh, that's weird. I wouldn't think that you would design something shaped like a brick to fly. That's just what they want you to think, though, isn't it? Moving on to number 20. I'm driving down the highway about 3 a.m. when a semi-truck pulled alongside me when they swerved into my lane, running me off the road and down a very steep incline. I remember going over. I gunned the engine. Why, I don't know. But I was going downhill, so I kept telling myself to step on the brake. I couldn't move it. It was like someone was holding my foot down. Then I heard this voice tell me, okay, now you can step on the brake. Neither my infant daughter nor myself were injured, and the only damage to the car was a hole in the oil pan. Both the tow truck and the highway patrol officer was incredulous that I didn't roll the car. They told me that if I had tried to stop any sooner than I did, I probably would have killed us both. Whoa, that's amazing. Like supernatural. That's like a guardian angel thing right there. When I was younger, I'd hear someone call my name. I'd ask everyone around me if they called me, and no one did. But I was sure I heard my name. Yeah, where is Autumn, by the way? She was Snapchatting me earlier, but here, kitty. I'm sure she'll pop in. Hopefully. Let me see here. 21. I was digging a grave for a passed-on pet in the woods behind my house. I leaned on my shovel to stop for a break, and I saw some kind of animal dart in front of me and leaned forward to look at it closely. It had vanished. Next thing I knew, I woke up lying on the ground and for some reason didn't worry about it. I just got up and began digging again. It was a hot summer in the mountains, so when I got weak and exhausted a little later, I figured I was getting heat exhaustion. So I went back to my mom's house to cool off. She freaked out because I was covered in blood. I had a big skip mark cut on the very top of my scalp, like something very sharp had skipped across my head like a skipping stone. It was in the middle of a property that backs to a big multi-county lake a mile or two back. And on either side, just dense forest my family owned. No idea what it was. Whoa, that's freaky. Especially if it's somewhere you've been like a million times. That would be really scary. If everyone says autumn in their head, then she'll pop into the chat. Number 22. I was driving back from a 16-hour road trip to see family, and I was about an hour from home. The whole trip was 4 days long, so I was pretty sleep deprived when I had been driving by myself with very few stops. I was cruising on the highway, and in front of me was a tunnel through the mountains. I hadn't driven through a tunnel on the way out of the state, so I became alarmed when I had been driving the wrong way, so I checked my GPS, but I had no signal on my phone. Unusual. The whole trip I normally had a signal. I immediately took the exit before the tunnel to get my bearings. It was a big circle exit, and at the end was a four-way stop with a flashing traffic light. I took a left, and the only thing around was a small 50s diner and a parking lot. All the lights were off in the diner, obviously closed, but the parking lot was full of cars, like packed. There were old classic cars and new cars, but not a single soul to be seen. It was around 3 a.m., so I didn't expect a crowd, but there wasn't a hotel or homes nearby, just a closed diner in a parking lot full of cars. I just didn't even slow down. I just got the hell out of there, pulled a U-turn in the street, and drove back on the on-ramp on the highway. Once I was back on the highway, I drove for 30 minutes until the GPS came back on. I was actually pretty close to home. My friend and I once drove back to try and find the diner, but we never could. Or the tunnel. I like to think that if I would have pulled into the parking lot, my car might have been added to the collection and no one would have seen me again. Wow, that went dark rather quickly. Did anybody watch any of the movies from the list of movies of any of the movies that I've given you? Or reviewed, I guess I should say. Or have any movies you want me to review? You can leave them in the chat there. I know that somebody wanted me to watch Ouija Origins, and I did. And that's going to be part of my next week's. I really liked it. It was a really good movie. I also have been sent a movie that I have to watch because the links are going to expire. And it's a really cheesy movie, and it's called Camp Death 3 in 2D. So it's really like a campy movie. And I'm hoping to get to see a new scary movie before next Monday. Each time I've tried to, the plans kind of fall through. So that's kind of annoying. I'm going to end up going to the movies by myself is what's going to happen. So that's what everyone wants, is to go to the movies to see something scary by themselves, right? Years ago, two of my kids who shared a bedroom said they heard someone calling their names practically every night. I can't recall them ever saying anything about it at the same time. Oh, wow. Did you watch any of those movies, Elena? I watched Babysitter. Yes, Babysitter was hilarious. Babadook is scary. If you scare easy, I wouldn't watch it. Brian said you were going to watch that movie, so I'm curious to know if you watched it. Let me see here. I'll let you guys chat in the chat for a second, and I'm going to read number 23. In my hometown, there is a ghost story about a large gray bull that roams the local farms and bellows when seen, only to vanish into thin air. When I was in the Boy Scouts, I heard that story at a meeting, and it made my blood run cold. My blood run cold and gave a distinct taste of salt in my mouth. One of my earlier memories was being on the bottom of our fields at home and walking back uphill toward our house. I looked up, and in front of me was a gigantic grayish blue bull standing between me and my house. I had never seen it before, and we didn't have cows. So when it bellowed, I turned tail and ran down through the field. When I looked back behind me, in a wide open field with it nowhere for it to go, it was gone. My grandmother didn't believe me, of course, but years later, she was our den mother. And when that story was being told, I looked up at her across the room, and she was already looking at me, white as a ghost. Okay. Ghost bull? Oh, well. Yeah. I know. I meant to say Cold Blood, which is a great. I rented that, and I had it in the DVD player, and I just never had the time to watch it. Like I have to get up. Hey, Nightmare Files. So I'll have to get it again. I think it's on Netflix, but I'm not 100% sure if it is. And if anybody has any recommendations, I have a paper and pen right here so I can write it down. I'm always looking for more creepy stuff. There's a few things on Netflix I want to watch. Is it The Creepy Adventures of Samantha? Does that sound right? I watched 10 Cloverfield Lane by myself. It was very interesting. Yeah, I've seen that before too. The one where they're like in a bunker, sort of, and she thinks that he's just tricking them into being in there. We're gonna be talking about spoilers to movies, but that movie's been out for a long time, so it'd be different if I just went and saw like The Nun and I told you everything about it. I'm really wanting to see The Nun, but since it's been harder and harder to get to the movies, I'm like, should I just wait and go see Halloween? Because oh my god, I'm so excited about that movie. I can hardly stand it. Maybe that's why I dreamt about Michael Myers the other night. That was a straw in my water, in case you want to wonder what that noise was. Let me see here. All right, these are 50, and then we have 40 after this, maybe. I don't know, it's already 8:45. We're on number 24, so we might only make it through these 50 because it's taking a while to get through these, so that's fine. Anyway, breathe. Every year, this is number 24, on my birthday, for the first 20 years of my life, I woke up at the exact same time I was born, 5:56 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. When I was stationed in the UK, I woke up at 10:56 a.m. and thought, broke the streak. Until I realized I was 5 hours ahead. Dun, dun, dun. That's cool to have an internal clock like that. Wow. Like this dude probably doesn't even need a watch on. Yeah, I heard that Nun kind of like messed up the whole franchise because they just relied more on jump scares than an actual really good storyline, and I'm really bummed about that. But I also don't really rely on other people. Like even when I do the reviews, just take what I say as a grain of salt. You might not find them scary. You might think they're really scary. I don't know. I just know that sometimes critics like to say things about movies and they're not always right. So, dolls. I think you might have said that before. Let me see. Dolls. And then which. I'll write that down. Make sure I didn't miss anything in there. Okay. Whew. Number 25. Growing up, my brother beat the shit out of me constantly. Like cut eyes, bloody noses, police called beatings. One day at the library, I was reading a book about some tribe who believed you could go into people's dreams and cast a sickness on them. So I did all the pre-dream groundwork described in the book. And that night, I went to sleep and had a dream. In the dream, I was at one end of a long road, and my brother was at the other end. I lifted up my hand and pointed at him and said, I cast a sickness on you. The next day, we're watching TV, and he said, I feel like shit. You have mono. I didn't even know why I said that. but it was the first thing that came to my mind. "Fuck you, bitch," was all he said, and the conversation was over. But a week later, it turns out he did have mono. I was freaked out. I was also pretty sure he thought I was a witch, and I thought I would burn in hell. To compound matters, I had a friend whose dad was a professor. We'd get stoned with him, and he'd always tell me random facts. So I'm at his house, and he starts telling me about this tribe that went into people's dreams and cast sickness. I was paranoid as fuck that people would learn this horrible thing I did. Now that I'm not 15 and an idiot, I assume that it's just the creepiest coincidence ever. No, I don't think that's a coincidence at all. But the problem is when you do something like that, and now you're all going to think I'm crazy, and that's fine. Anytime you put something bad into the world, energy, wish something bad on someone else, there is a cycle to that, and it's going to come back to you at some point. The best thing you can do is try and think of something better for yourself, even when it's like really, really bad and really, really hard. That's the best thing that you can do. And that's the end of my therapy session there. The other great white. Oh, hello. Hello. We are on, I lost my train of thought. Not a shocker there. We're doing 50 stories first, and we're on number 26. Then if we have time, there's another 40 after that, but I don't know if we will, because I get distracted, as you all know. Number 26. I have a friend who once told me about a time when he was in his teens. He slept in a bunk bed with his brother in the lower bunk. He said he dreamt a demon wearing the skin of a man threatened to kill his brother. In order to save him, he somehow managed to procure a knife and put the knife in the neck of the demon. The demon tells him, the only way to rid evil is through evil. He hesitated and woke up to find he was pressing a butcher knife under the neck of his younger brother. He was still sleeping, fortunately, but when he awoke, he told the same dream exactly, except he was attacked by his brother in the dream, and said the exact same thing. The only way to rid evil is through evil. Nothing similar happened after that, and it gave him some serious issues that led to him ending up in psychotherapy for a while. I can't say if it's true or not. As far as I know, he made the whole thing up. But I don't think so, as he was reluctant to mention it. How would he know the exact same thing to say? Oh my God. That's terrifying right there. Whew. 100% accurate. What's that now? I always forget that the chat is like a few seconds behind what I'm saying, so I'm kind of lost as to what's 100% accurate. You're gonna have to tell me. I'll come back in a second. Number 27. Not nearly as terrifying, but I shared a dream with my wife once. I dreamt that I was in a basement with a friend from work. He and I were talking, and he led me through the door into a room where there was a table. On this table were 3 of my childhood cats. One was mostly white with spots of black and long hair. Another was mostly black with spots of white with short hair. The third was a long-haired tabby. I walked up to them, pet the long-haired tabby cat. The mostly white cat with spots was named Annabelle. The mostly black cat with white spots was named Sylvester. The long-haired tabby was Garth. Later, my wife woke up and said she dreamt of me. She dreamt I was in a room with a table and had 3 cats in there. And described the cats exactly. She said in the dream I walked up to the cat and started petting it. I didn't speak a word of this dream to her. As a matter of fact, she woke up immediately, told me before I even said a word to her. Freaked me the hell out, and I still can't explain it to this day. Oh, so he means shared a dream with his wife. He had the same damn dream. That's crazy cool. To be that connected to another person, I'm saying. I'm sure it was freaky at the time, but whatever. Okay, checking the chat. I don't see anything there. Going back to the stories. Okay, number 28. Driving south down a back road parallel to a bunch of farm fields that end about 3 or 4 miles at a heavy pine tree line, and the road curves hard to the left, east. It was 8 p.m. where I was, and I was on my way home from work, so the sun was setting to my right, west. I was probably listening to music, just zoning out, waiting to get home. Then just past the tree line, I saw this smallish orange ball of light rise up from behind the trees pretty slowly and came to a near hover, about 1 or 2 finger thicknesses above the treetops from where I was. Instantly, I'm thinking, this isn't the sun, because when I looked to my right, the sun was setting. Now my eyes are fucking glued to this thing, and the whole time I'm hoping my car isn't going to mysteriously shut down. But while I'm thinking this, the orange ball is getting bigger and turning yellow, while another smaller ball of orange starts rising up next to the first one. And the second one begins to get bigger and turn yellow as well. I can't believe what I'm seeing. And I don't think anyone else will either, all the while trying to make sense of it. These 2 yellow balls of what I assume are light are now hovering above the tree line that I'm heading reluctantly toward. But once the second had matched the first in shape and size, and hovering height, they just both seemed to move south as they got smaller and smaller until I couldn't see them past the horizon. There was no sound that I could hear from it either. Military, VTOL, or otherwise, I still really want to know what it was. I personally think it was something hovering to take off, being it's in a forest, and that's really the only way. And the color plus size change and the engines warming up before they finally left. I don't know. That's really crazy. I mean, most of the time this happens when you're by yourself, right? So no one is going to believe that you didn't fucking imagine it. You know, if that same thing happened recently as well. Huh? Okay. Number 29. When I was 12, I spent the night at a friend's house. We were up late, chatting, falling asleep, listening to some music, Hotel California, and suddenly the music stopped. A bright blue light shined into the bedroom window, lit the room up, then dissipated. Hotel California resumed like nothing happened. We were frozen, dumbfounded and freaked out, getting chills and feeling weird. Did you see that? I reluctantly got out of bed to peek outside. Nothing there but an empty parking lot by a wooded area. I looked at the clock. It said 2:14. For the next couple of years, it became somewhat of an urban legend among my friends. We'd stay up until 2:14 at each other's house and dare something to happen like that again. Lots of fun scaring ourselves, but nothing happened. It just became known as 2:14, and we'd joke about it whenever we saw that it was 2:14. 2 years later, I was at a different friend's house, up late, watching movies in the living room. It was over, shut off the TV, we were just chatting like normal, falling asleep. Suddenly, a bright white light shined into the living room window, lighting up the place, then dissipated, just like the blue light from 2 years before. I immediately was struck with fear. Did you see that? My friend replied, yeah. I was filled with dread as I turned over to get a view of the VCR to see what time it was. My body was covered and chilled with anticipation. And it was 2:14. My whole body was covered with shivers. My eyes were watering, and I was freaking out. I already knew I didn't need to get up to look out the window. My friend's backyard is just all woods. Nothing could be back there. Suffice to say, with 2 different witnesses to go along with myself, 2:14 was a confirmed real thing in my life, and I've been haunted by it ever since. Nothing like it has happened since, but it sure did color my adolescence and make me intrigued and fascinated by all things paranormal, unexplainable, weird, fantastic, etc. It was no surprise that I became a huge X-Files fan. Whoa. I mean, that's not terrifying, but it is like daunting in your mind. Oh, got ya. Okay. Number 30. I swear an abduction like experience. I went to bed just like normal, and I had what could only be rationally explained as a really lucid dream that I awoke to a darkened room with the light above me. I was in a medical chair, and what made me wake up was an extreme pinching pain around my cervix. I was comforted by a human female who held my hand and told me to go back to sleep. It felt like I was given a sedative, and everything went dark. I don't remember waking up that night, only that I became aware that I was staring at my ceiling, and I couldn't move. When I was able to move, I rolled over, and I was still scared, and at that point, I managed to go back to sleep and never told a soul. It wasn't weird until I went to my next gyno appointment a month later, when I was told I had abnormal scarring on my cervix that wasn't there before. So it always made me question if my experience was real. I have a hard time talking about it for fear of being thought as a crazy person. Whew. Well, I mean, you felt it and then your doctor confirmed it, so I would definitely say you have evidence that you're not crazy. Yeah. Night, damn gypsy. Night. 31. I walked 2 miles from home for my closing shift at Taco Bell. The whole time I felt uneasy. When I get home, I have a brief moment of relief as I shut and lock the door. I still live with my folks back then in their split foyer house. The basement on the front of the house was half underground, while the back is not. So at the entryway, I turn on the basement light for a second to make sure the floor is clear of my brother's toys. After confirming it was, I turned off the light and walked down the stairs. Sometimes you get that sensation in the corner of your eye that something's there, and before you realize what's going on, you're staring at something outside the window. At something, you mean? I only saw red glowing eyes staring back at me. I was frozen. It had to have been over 7 feet tall. Then I bolted into my room, got under the covers, and stayed there for a few minutes hoping I was imagining it. Then the back porch door opened, and my dog, who was kenneled right next to the inside door to that same porch, starts going apeshit. Thank God for that, I thought, as the porch door opened and closed again. Oh my God. Yikes. Holy crap. Number 32. Whew. Is everybody falling asleep to this or what? I don't see anybody saying anything in the chat. Usually people are more rambunctious. I feel like I should share with you guys the I'm going to share it with you guys. Let me just find it here. Cuz almost daily people have made comments about it. So someone made a video about Joe Rogan. I'm just going to share it with you guys so you can see it. I'm just going to share with you the comment section. Hold on a second. Stupid thing. Okay. So it is a video about how to command respect without being a jerk. And basically it is honest conflict is always better than dishonest harmony. Perfectly worded. That's all I said. And it's got 1,700 likes, 35 replies. And that's just one of the times that I've said something on someone's thing. And all these people made all these assumptions about it. Hold on, I'm just going to share it with you guys so you can see it, so you can wake or see this. Hold on a second. Let me see here. I'm just going to share it with you guys. I almost pressed stop broadcast, so hold on a second. So I'm just going to share it with you guys. So this is the video. That's an ad on the video, but it's on Charisma on Command. And they have like a lot of good like public speaking advice and things like that. But so I just made this innocent comment. And below it are all these people that take it like, it doesn't matter what you say. People can take what you say out of context and blow it up and turn it 15 different ways. And that's exactly what people have done here. Like, I only responded to one person and it just keeps going. Like, every day there's a new comment and they're mean. People are like, nope, you're not going to have a happy marriage if you're honest. I'm like, that's not what it says. And you guys can let me know if you agree with that or not, but I do believe that honest conflict is always better than dishonest harmony, because that doesn't mean you go purposely set out to be cruel to someone. And that's what some people in this comment section had taken it as, that you should just walk around saying whatever is on your mind. That's definitely not what that means. It's totally different and separate than that. What it means is, if you've got something that you need to say to someone and you're afraid to rock the boat and you're just trying to keep the peace, meanwhile you're miserable, they're miserable, say it. Like, why are people so much happier not making the effort to just say and be honest? Why are people so afraid of that? It doesn't make any sense. Oh my God, but there's hundreds of them. And it's not even just trolls, it's people like trying to sound smarter than they are, or trying to like dissect it into different ways, and it's not complicated. People are trying to make it out to be something other than it is. And it's just a simple statement. And one of the comments was, oh, you're not going to be married very long if your wife asks you if she looks fat in that dress. Number one, if you're married to someone and you don't think they're the absolute most beautiful person in the world, there's your first number one dishonest harmony that you're living with every single fucking day. And that's your own problem, man, that you created for yourself. So you should always think that the person that you're with is the brightest bulb in the room. Number one. Number two, you don't go out to seek to be cruel to people. I don't know. People are terrified of conflict. And it's not even conflict. It's just being honest. People take honesty as conflict. And that's the most confusing thing to me of all. I don't get it. Why are you saying they take it and they suppress it into a ball and push it down and push it down and push it down, and it's still there. It's not going to go anywhere. So I don't understand why people do that to themselves. Is everything perfect? No. You definitely shouldn't go around picking fights with people, trying to be cruel. But let's do a scenario. You're in a store, just grocery shopping, or you're at Walmart or whatever, and you're passing an aisle. And you look down the aisle and you see a dad or a mom, doesn't matter which, smack their kid, like full on arm back, smack their kid. What do? Are you just going to walk by like you didn't just fucking see that happen? I am always curious as to what people's reactions will be, because many people's reactions would be nothing. They would do nothing. And I can't live my life like that. I can't live my life with tunnel vision while other people get hurt. Night companion. Well, you need to go back to the beginning, because we've been reading stories for like an hour and I thought people were falling asleep in the chat section. So I showed them a comment I made on a video about Joe Rogan, about how he was saying that honest conflict is always better than dishonest harmony. And that's where we're at. So no, I get more involved in that. I am always the person that sticks up for someone to the point where I end up being the one that people look at to blame. Like, yeah. Yeah, I know. We're going to go back to stories. I mean, I just want to make sure everybody's awake. Nah, Matt, I'm in here 1 hour past. Oh, hell no. Okay, we're gonna go. Now that everybody's awake. Woo! Now we're awake. Now we're awake. 32. When I was younger, I was really into looking at creepy places with my friends. Mostly would find nothing, just strange shadows or sounds that we would convince ourselves was much more. So one night we went down to Witch Road as we heard there was a strange cabin in the woods that was supposedly terrifying. Generally, we did a lot of research on these places to learn about them, what other people have seen or experienced, but this time we did none of that. Found the address, printed out the MapQuest directions, and took on the road. The road is truly out in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by woods. It was about 8:15 midsummer when we parked on the side of the road just as it was turning dusk. We get out of the car, head to the trunk to get out our flashlights and backpacks. We rounded the end of the car and I saw the cabin. I gestured to my friends to look at the cabin. Just then, we saw what looked to be an orb that was slowly moving toward us. It was far enough in the distance that we couldn't make out distinctly what the shape was. It wasn't scary, didn't make me anxious. It did the opposite. I was incredibly intrigued and curious. I started walking into the woods, leaving behind my backpack, flashlight. My friends closely followed. Breaking the silence, we heard a crashing through the woods as a man appeared, running toward us, holding a lantern and telling us that we had to leave. We asked no questions and headed back to the car. The adventure was over. We were all silent and in a daze driving away until my friend said, "Wait, did that guy have a fucking lantern? What year is he from?" Still a strange, weird moment in my life. Yeah, no one questioned that. I mean, people that camp have lanterns for a reason because they last longer than flashlights, but that is weird. Smack your kids, lock your wife up because Duchess is to blame tonight. Oh, psh, psh, psh. Night companion. Psh. Hi, eyes. Ask my husband if he has enough money to bail me out of jail. Ha, that's funny. Don't be bringing up my neighbors. Okay, number 33. 5 friends and I were playing flashlight tag, hide and seek in his huge farm. In his huge farm. Across the pond, he has nothing but forest. We're all playing, and 2 of us, my friend and I, have these sweet walkie-talkies. Both of us, plus another friend, were afraid to go into the forest. But 3 of us decided, the math is boggling my mind, but anyway, 3 of us decided to go in since we could hide forever in there. We go in and split up. Me all by myself, and the 2 others were together. With the walkie-talkies, we were talking for maybe 30 minutes back and forth, pretty stoked about our hiding spots. I even went up a tree and found the perfect little nook to just chill in. About another 20 minutes goes by and I haven't heard from them. I walkie, nothing. Okay, maybe he didn't hear me. I walkie again. This time, I get a beep back. It stayed live for about 5 seconds. Are these things working? I tried again, and this time, I heard distinct breathing. All right, I guess they have to be messing with me. Even so, it was freaking me out. I hop out of the tree and start heading back toward the house. As soon as I get down, I start hearing a howling. I thought it was coyotes, but there was something off about it. It sounded just like someone in the distance howling, like a coyote. I was starting to get really freaked out by this point, so I hightail it back toward the house. I kept hearing the howling and could swear it was getting closer. I picked up pace and started running toward the edge of the tree line. As soon as I crossed it, the walkie sounded again and there was a cackle, like a witch cackle. I have never ran faster up to the house. Once I was back up, I met up with one of the friends who were seeking and told them about it. "Dude, the other guys are still out there, and they definitely freaked me out." He goes, they're back here, and they said they lost track of you and just came back thinking you already came back. Turns out they came back but lost the walkie coming back. So something found the walkie. Or I was just hearing things. Whoo! That one was scary. Dun dun dun. Did it say how old they were? No. I'm going to guess they were like 12. I'm between this tree and the next branch. Medium rare women mostly. I'm between Muscle Shoals and Huntsville. What now? What? Hey, Brian Mathis. Women who behave rarely make history. Touche. Ni hao. Very true. I live near you, FTG. Rare woman. Okay. Bombshell. Coyotes are my bros. Medium rare woman. Does that come with warm pink center? Ew. I thought you were going to say steak sauce, but you took it a different way. So I'm just going to read number 34. My close friend lived in New York City and she was driving with some cousins and got in an accident. This was about 2 a.m. Sunday morning, and I'm dead asleep. I dreamt the entire crash, and the scream from when they hit the median woke me up. It sounded like she was right next to me, screaming in my ear. As I got my phone and to call her back and check, she called me. I told her bits and pieces of what I had seen, but she figured I had guessed everything. Until I described the dress she had on, and she freaked out because she had never shown me the dress. She had just bought it, and I even knew that there was still a tag on it. Girl's going to try to take that dress back. Can't do that with blood on it, unless it comes out. Just saying, don't do that. That's not ethical, but you know, just in case. Anyway. Oh, I just got one today, actually. Alabama. Blah ha ha. Awesome success. I recently got into a fist fight with Bigfoot in the woods. Sweet. Who won? Another year of Duchiness? I don't know yet, Bernadette. I won't know till tomorrow. I'm going to assume that you won, Brian, because I don't think that you'd be standing here if Bigfoot won. But I definitely want to hear more about that. Number 35. So I keep having this recurring dream. I live near a field in real life, and in this dream, this is where it mostly takes place. So I'm walking home late at night, specifically 11:49 p.m. I cut across the field to get home quicker. I keep checking my phone and look up, and there's a pure black triangular looking object with a white light on each vertex, not like a beam of light, more like a torch style light. I walk faster and I hear humming, which gets louder and louder. I start running. There's a hole in the fence of the separation from the field and the road, which I climb through, and then I fall as I run through. All of a sudden, I always cut to 12:03 a.m. with a cracked screen on the opposite side of the road when I'm walking to my house, and the triangle in the sky is back to the original place in pure silence. I go to bed and wake up like nothing happened. But the reason this dream feels like it really happened is the fact that I go to bed and go to sleep in the dream. The true experience, one night in July, can't remember the exact date. I was walking through the field, and I hear humming coming from behind the trees at the back of the field. I think, fuck that and walk faster. The time? 11:49 p.m. I look into the trees and see a bright light, so I start to panic, drop my phone as I walk through the hole in the fence. I get to the other side of the road where I sit having a panic attack and think, this is exactly the same dream. Once I calm down, I check the phone and walk home. It's cracked, and it's 12:03 a.m. This is the most X-Files weird as fuck moment when my dream sort of came true. Okay. Yeah. Brian versus Brian, I'd pay to watch that. Oh my god. Oh my god, I have to scroll up now. Brian said I won. The Woods win. Must have been a small Bigfoot baby. Brian, that's illegal in Washington state. Anti-poaching laws and all. Really? Is it really illegal to fight Bigfoot anywhere? Like, is that a legit thing? Brian told Brian the real deal. Oh. Laws against injuring a Bigfoot. I pay to watch that. I won. I whooped that Bigfoot's pretty convincingly. Brian is a badass. I'm pretty sure if the Bigfoot punched Brian, the Brian would be hospitalized. The Brian. Oh my god. Somewhere in Texas, someone probably has a Bigfoot head mounted above their fireplace. Number 36. Lost time. My brother was helping me across the country. We borrowed a van and loaded everything up for the last trip. Just before we left, I checked my watch and called my girlfriend that we would be hitting the road soon. My brother checked the kitchen clock, but only told me later that he did. We set out, but couldn't do more than 80 kilometers because of the load. When we took the off-ramp of my new city, my brother told me he couldn't remember the trip. When I thought about it, neither could I. We both thought we were tired and thought nothing of it. However, when we arrived at my new house, my girlfriend asked if I broke the speed limit because we were there almost an hour early. When retracing the route, my brother and I both agreed that we can remember passing a certain gas station and nothing after until the off-ramp. To this day, we have no clue what happened during that hour we're missing, or how we could have traveled that fast. Not with any car, or van at least. Now at the beginning I wrote, we both independently checked for time. This is important for us because one time source could have been wrong, but not both. Also, I called before we left, which limits the time we could use to travel. Since then, we have never experienced any weirdness like that or otherwise. I don't have any weird memories or dreams. No piece of metal lodged under my skin, etc. Just an hour lost. Or so you think. Dun, dun, dun. I took that one. There was a really funny show on, oh my gosh, was it TBS? People of Earth. Did anybody watch that? It was hilarious, but they took it off. They canceled the next season. It's illegal to harass a Bigfoot in any way, actually. Me too. Well, some neighbor. The Brian would have evolved into a forest. Why do you keep saying the Brian? Would have evolved into a forest pancake after the Bigfoot ability punch. Now, something tells me we're all the rowdy neighbors. That is a possible true statement. Dun dun dun. I'm just reading the comment section. Like companion, I is send you Bigfoot to the hospital. He's in critical condition. Dun dun dun. Is this a game you played that's really, really good, or did you have some really good edibles? Number 37. When I was 13, my parents had me living out in their shed. Family issues. Anyway, which was always left open for breeze at night. What? Let's just take a minute to embrace that first sentence like it was just casually mentioned in the beginning of their story. When I was 13, my parents had me living out in their shed. Family issues. Moves on with the story. Anyway, which was always left open for breeze at night. So you're 13 living in a shed, totally open. Everyone's fine with it. Anyway, one night I dreamt that I was in a bright white round room lying on a bed or a table with a bunch of almond-eyed, pale-skinned humanoids around me. I was scared, but couldn't move, like I was weighed down. Suddenly I snap awake and feel like I literally dropped into my bed. In his shed, by the way. It felt so real and nothing, or it could have been a girl, I don't know. Felt so real and nothing like it has happened since, and I'm 30 now. Scared the shit out of me. Maybe one of the gas cans was open in the shed. What the hell? My God. Anyone else live in a shed? I mean, I know that we have tiny houses now. It's not that unheard of, but 13? Still don't think it's okay for a 13-year-old to live outside, although it's been debated on certain people. Anyway, you know what kind of drink really puts me in the Halloween spirit? Oh no. I feel like there's a punchline. What kind? What kind of drink is it? Fear the Great White. There's a punchline. I'm gonna have to come back and read it. Sling Blade. The Brian are a Bigfoot abuser. Night companion starts the Bigfoot movement. Pineapple juice. Oh, you're being serious. Pineapple juice, coconut rum, Tang drink mix, coconut cream, ice, and a blender. Isn't that pina? Yeah, pina colada. You could just said that. There's water coming out of my sink now. Think it's okay to drink it? Why was your water off in the first place? Usually if your water's off, you're supposed to let it, I mean, whoever turned it off, they would say, I don't know, I would let it run for a few minutes, and if you're not sure, does it smell funny or look funny? Just to be on the safe side, we don't even have one, but everyone should have a filter for their tap if you're drinking tap water. And if you say bottled water is better, where do you think they're getting that from? Where do you think they're getting the bottled water from? Sunny D, ice chips, Southern Comfort, enjoy, and punch a foot later. Oh my God. Number 38. I have a weird one. Backstory: was 18. My father had just tried to commit suicide. He was in intensive care at the hospital, and after me and my mom went to visit him, we went to my grandmother's house that lived nearby. Around midnight, we decided to go home, and since my mother doesn't like highways, we took an old mountain road. Around halfway home, going downhill, I noticed the inside of the car was really bright. So I looked at the side and back mirrors to see if a car was behind me, had its lights on, but there was nothing. I say to my mom, that's really bright inside the car. And she answers me that she noticed that a few minutes back, but she thought that it was her imagination, so she said nothing. It was a tough time for her and me. The doctors had told us that my father wouldn't survive the night. I started looking around us. While driving, never stopped, and noticed a light between the trees. It looked like one of those helicopters' focus lights, but it was behind the trees, and the brightness inside the car didn't change or wasn't being interrupted. And that's when I noticed that it was just inside the car. A Suzuki Samurai pickup, 2 seats. Outside, it was still pitch black. I'm kind of lost in the story the way they written it, so hopefully someone else is following along better than I am. It was just inside the cabin. That's when I got scared. I told my mom about the light outside and increased the speed to get out of the woods to try to get a better look at it. As soon as I cleared the trees, the light faded. It didn't shoot up anywhere, just faded. And the inside of the car went dark. My mother was convinced that it was an angel or a light from Holy Mary. I told a couple of my friends, but was ridiculed, and to this day, no one believes me. Once in a while, my mother and I still talk about it. My father did survive, and actually tried to commit suicide again a month before my wedding last year. He survived again and is under medication. I still think about it, especially when I drive at night. There is something out there. I don't know, I can't do the X-Files music very well, but that really made me think of that. That's crazy. I filter all my water. Yeah, you should. Let it run for a minute. Bigfoot 2 movement is a real Bigfoot 2. Wow. North Central. Wow, you are just like on it, Night Companion. Pew, 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 pew. The city is working on the road in front of my building. I just don't drink water, period. Catastrophe avoided. Well, you don't live in Flint, so you should be okay. Who needs water anyways? Jeez. I'm more confused than usual. Hooray, my first live chat at night. Oh, hello, Kate's Dernock 22. Did I say that right? I don't know. I'll come back and check. Number 39. I was sitting out back at my old place about 4 a.m. during the summer. There were some railroad tracks behind the apartment buildings. I was sitting parallel to the tracks, just drinking beer, listening to music through some headphones. All of a sudden, I see something in my peripheral vision. I turn my head and see this gold glowing humanoid figure is walking on the tracks. It looked like a human, but with no discernible features. And it was glowing gold. I had my eyes on it for about a second before it went behind some trees. It's the only paranormal experience I've had that I haven't been able to find an explanation for. Then again, I was pretty sauced by this point, so it takes away from my credibility, but I usually don't see glowing figures while drinking. I mean, hopefully you didn't leave your drink uncovered and somebody slipped you some shit while you were sitting there. You never know. I wouldn't discount it. Where'd it go? Oh, great white is a dried shark withering away and dehydrated from the liquid source that keeps her moving and alive. I'm your new fan, trying to catch up on your vids, but I saw you were live. Wow, it's dark here. Best time to listen to spooky things. I am right. Is that what that means? Nacht means night is best? Is that what that means? Slips you some shit. Okay, number 40. Driving to Binghamton, New York. Wow. Blah, blah, blah. New York, many years ago on the highway, coming around a bend over a hill to my right. A bright gold metallic object falling slowly from the sky a few miles away. It fell like origami over itself and folded and unfolded randomly in multiple places like it was working its way to Earth. This was early in the afternoon. First, I thought it was a weather balloon, but it was huge and rigid and very angular, changing shapes as it fell very considerably. Still have no idea. Okay. Don't have any pictures? Damn. No, I mean, what number are we on? Like 41 of 50. A good roofie? I like how that was in the same sentence. I can't wait for Halloween. Dun dun dun. Okay. So the night part is right though. Bingham, Tim, Bing, Bang, hand turn, Bing. Oh my god. Anyways, number 41. When I was a teenager, multiple times I could have sworn that I heard a woman calling for help during the evening while standing outside of my parents' house. While I would be standing outside of my parents' house. It was always just loud enough, though, that I would stop what I was doing to listen and then dismiss it after I didn't hear anything else. I mentioned it to my friend at the time in passing. He got all serious and told me that he had thought he had heard the same thing on multiple occasions while leaving my parents' house. We got all freaked out and were thinking of some weird X-Files thing. Now that I'm older, know how fucked up the world is, and reflect on the fact that my hometown had meth problems, I feel like it's much more probable that it was actually domestic violence. Now I just feel bad that I may have heard someone who actually needed help and dismissed it as just hearing things. And I feel even worse thinking about the fact that I probably couldn't have done anything to help, even if I had taken it seriously. Probably would have got yourself stabbed too. Oh my god. Sounds like La Llorona. No, you're fine. There's no judgment in this chat. Unless you come in here and confess that you murdered someone. I had someone confess to me some weird things on my videos multiple times. Like, there was one guy who came to my video. It was my Albert Fish one. Actually, all of my weird ones, I think, were from Albert Fish. One guy confessed that he was a pedophile himself and had violated that, and I reported him to YouTube, and by the time I had done that, he had erased every trace of himself from YouTube. And then there was another guy who said, "I killed someone before." And like just said it. That's all he said. But he just kept making the same comment on the same video over and over and over again. Have you heard of the Daya? I don't know. Ay, my hijo. Oh, that was me. I killed. Oh my God, night companion. 42. When I was younger, I used to get really extreme deja vu. There was one time in particular where I went about my day and took a test in school. I did okay, got the test back, looked over my answers, etc. Didn't really pay attention to what day it was. A couple of days later, get to school, same exact test, except no one remembers taking it before but me. I wasn't mad about it because I knew all the answers already. But stuff like this happened all the time when I was in elementary and middle school. Wow, that's pretty awesome. Too bad it didn't affect you during college. You could have aced every test. Okay. Diane, Dylan, the 5 greatest rappers. Trustworthy indeed. You just give off that trustworthy vibe. Who does? Have you heard of the Diatop Pass? And I have. And actually there was another set of stories that there's one in America that yeah. Dun, 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 dun. But that's some other set of stories for another day. Number 43. When I was a child while waiting for the bus, I was very nearly attacked by the biggest, blackest, meanest dog I have ever seen, until an equally big white dog came out of nowhere to my offense while I ran back inside. It has made me think a lot about angels and demons, and I've never been sure what to believe since that happened. That's scary. Just 2 random dogs? No, there should have been more backstory to that. And like afterwards. Okay. That was it. We're reading 50 unexplained stories. I don't know. We have a La Llorona here in Texas. They're 50 unexplained stories. I don't know. They're like near X-Files stories, I guess. Son of E-House. Hose. Oh my God. Oh my God. Mi is hijos. Okay. Number 44. When I was a teenager, I learned about lucid dreaming and how to induce them. Ended up taking a while to perfect how to do it, but it was worth it. Most dreams ended up just me trying to test my limits in various ways while exploring the strange dream world. One night, I was practicing flying and ended up teleporting somewhere because I was suddenly inside a very high-tech ship. There was a super stereotypical alien side. I tried to use my main means of attack, which was to telepathically pop as a hole in its chest. I called it the hole puncher. It did nothing. Like less than nothing. Then it got pissed. At this point, I'm not having a good time and feeling kind of annoyed, so I try to wake up from the dream like I do when it's a failed lucid dream, but I couldn't. Then it lurched forward at me, and the dread I felt was insane. The way it moved was sickening in itself. I can't even describe it. When it touched me, I swear I felt real pain, and that's when I finally woke up. Never happened again, but I won't forget it. Whoa. That should be a whole subject right there. Like lucid dreaming. Has anybody tried that before? My children is a translated phrase for the La Llorona. I was her last night. Ooh. This is the most fun I've had in a weeknight. I'm so sorry. When I first started doing this, me and a couple other people, Rainer, Lewinton, and then somebody else, we would do like Cards Against Humanity online during a live stream. That was pretty funny. Though some of those were like 4-hour long streams though, so that would be fun to do that again. Lucid dreaming is fucking awesome. That's awesome. I don't even think I need to try that. I think I would probably be stuck in a if you've never heard my dream stories or you weren't here for any other streams or heard the ones I just talked about, they're very real. I talk a lot in my sleep too. I like to record that. Number 45. Damn, I've got a good one for this, finally. Let me also say that The X-Files is my all-time favorite show. And I started watching it when I was 11 or so because of one of my teammates told me I look like Fox Mulder. Humble brag. These people, man. Anyway, okay, so when my best friend and I were 15, we were in our own like terrible 80s hard rock cover band. His dad's friend, who happened to be a virtuoso jazz guitarist, asked us if we've ever seen this amazing must-see guitar movie called Crossroads. We hadn't, but he played it up so much that we just had to go to Blockbuster that night and rent it. So Crossroads is essentially given background by the true folklore story of Delta blues guitarist Robert Johnson, who sold his soul to the devil for incredible guitar ability. The legend goes that Johnson walked to a crossroad at midnight with his guitar and waited until the devil came. The devil can take any form he chooses, and he tends to take the form that would make most sense to the person he's interacting with. In this case, he's an older, well-dressed Southern gentleman in a fancy old Ford. Anyway, the devil comes and inspects Johnson's guitar and tells him that he can show him a few new tunings that will help him with his guitar playing. Johnson hands the devil the guitar. The devil tunes it, hands it back, and the contract is done. Johnson's soul has been exchanged, and by sunrise, he will suddenly be able to play guitar with otherworldly ability. Okay, so being 15, and for lack of much else to do that summer, my friend and I decided to give this thing a try. After a little 14K dial-up research, we figured that any old crossroad would do. And as luck would have it, there were plenty of places where two roads crossed just about anywhere. So we each took an electric guitar at exactly midnight, strode a few blocks away from his parents' house to see what would happen. We stood there for upwards of a half an hour, feeling a little bit foolish, but bolstered by the brave and bold thing we were doing, joking to each other. After getting bored, we began to debate whether or not to call it quits. We tried and we'd failed. The devil wasn't going to really come ask us for our souls. After all, it's just folklore. Suddenly, an unremarkable gray Toyota Camry or Honda Civic or Nissan Maxima, whatever, slowly rolled over to us and pulled to a stop. A youngish man in his mid to late 20s with spiked hair and glasses rolled down the window, leaned across the passenger seat toward our direction. At first, we weren't sure what to believe. There were lots of reasons for a car to pull over and inspect two teenagers standing on a street corner at midnight holding electric guitars. Some more sinister than the rest. However, this was 1999 or so, and things like that just seemed more commonplace than they do now. "Hey," he said, "I like what you guys are doing out here. Cool guitars. That's really cool. You guys are just hanging out here with electric guitars?" So we looked at each other. "Yeah," my friend said eventually. "Just hanging out, bored, nothing to do. You know." "You know," he began, looking directly at me, the resident guitar player in our two-man band. "That's a nice guitar. You should let me take a look at it. I bet I could fix it up for you. Show you a few things that might help." I swallowed hard, mind frozen, unsure how I'd come to this inner pass where the veil between reality and unreality had become so thin. I knew what he'd say next before the words left his mouth. "There are some new tunings I know about." We stared at this guy in disbelief. Couldn't believe this was happening. My mind felt like it was on fire. Thousands of thoughts fought desperately for purchase, none willing to budge. I froze. Finally, my friend, almost always the most demonstrative of the two of us, spoke up. Nope, nope, we're good. We're good. Gotta go. Before we left, the man told us that he lived just down the block and indicated a row of houses nearby. He told us to come by if we'd ever had a change of heart. Yeah, just come by a stranger's house. We ran home. Incredulous to the events that had just taken place, we ran back over the event with each other repeatedly to ensure that we hadn't accidentally sold our souls to the devil. I remember thinking how upset my grandmother would be if she'd known that I went out seeking to make a deal with the devil. A few days later, composure regained via our usual irrelevant juvenile senses of humor, we almost forgot the event. We decided that if this guy really did live on that block in one of those nearby houses, we should go investigate. So we did. We took a walk, guitarless at this time, down to the group of 3 or 4 houses the man had vaguely indicated with a swipe of his hand on the aforementioned night. As we approached the general destination, I began to hear faint music that grew louder as we approached. Using the music as a guide, we located the house that was the source of the sound and sat down on the grass separating the sidewalk from the street. Looking up at my light up Casio watch, the revelation wasn't lost on me that it was just after midnight. We listened closer. We were surprised, although maybe not as surprised as we should have been, to hear the music wasn't coming from a stereo system, but was live, the rehearsal of a band. Impossibly, as we continued listening, the rehearsing band played a near identical set list of the songs that we ourselves would practice in my friend's basement, literally less than a quarter of a mile away. The quality of this band's practice, however, was incredible, especially since we'd spent some time searching and knew of no local musicians in the area, especially so incredibly close by. We deemed that location the Devil's House and tried to go back a few more times, but never heard the music again. We never saw the guy in that car again and never attempted another deal. 18 years later, we still tell the story of the night we met the devil, and friends never seem to believe us. This story is 100% true. We spent plenty of time considering that maybe the guy in the car had seen Crossroads himself recently and was just pulling an incredibly awesome prank on us. If so, his follow-through was excellent, as after that one night we never again heard or saw of him, his band, and never encountered anyone that could vouch for the fact that he even existed. By that point, we were too far scared to do any more digging and just decided best to let it go. That was a long-ass story. Is anyone awake still? Duchess and tamales. Oh, beer. Oh my gosh. TNC drunken live stream with me later on. Awesome. Patreon sounds like an undiscovered Pokemon. Oh my gosh. So much in the chat. I remember Blockbuster. I know, me too. There's this spot in town. There used to be this Hollywood video at this one place, and now it's like an orthodontist place. And every time I pass it, I just can't believe that it's not a Hollywood video anymore. And I remember when they were going out of business, they had like all their DVDs on sale. And I had bought like a ton of them. And like I think it was like a year later, my house got robbed. And they stole all those videos. But not just those videos. All of them I had collected for like decades. Not decades. Like at least a decade. Yeah, probably. Worth of movies. A lot of them. Whew. Okay, I'm trying to go up in this, see where I lost the chat here. Not La Llorona. Okay. I know, just being slightly pina colada buzzing troll. Awesome. 2 nights ago, I lucid dreamed and ran into a black cloud that had me panic for the first time. Must have been something really bad. Oh my gosh. It's always great at night when you have a live stream. Yeah, stuck with Mr. Kruger. Was it my friend? Same. Movie gallery. Oh my gosh. Or the La Malahora. I have Mexican friends who have had La Llorona encounters in South Texas near the border and in Mexico as well. Huh. That sounds interesting. I've avoided that because I thought it had been overdone, but maybe I need to look into it. I'm pretty sure that most people have done all the stories, but I should look into it. I'm gonna write it down. I'm writing it down. La Llorona. Although I already have this entire month already planned out. I'm not even joking. I should do a snap, like a picture of my planner. It's already done. Pokemon. Decades. I said it wasn't decades. God. Quit trolling me, you turd. Quote that one. Number 46. Yeah, I think we're only going to do the first 50 or we'll be here all night. When I was a freshman in high school, I was up early to get ready for school. My brother slept till 7:30, but I was dressed by 7:15 or something. Call it me trying way too hard. Anyways, we lived in the middle of nowhere on my family farm. My neighbor is my grandma and the other is my aunt, each a good half-mile apart. I was putting on my makeup, the sun was up, and I was 100% awake. I saw something outside my window. One of the blinds had been tilted so you could see out even though the blinds were pulled. I thought it was our cat, so I peeked out the blinds to be sure. I was going to pull the blinds open and scare it, but I peeked out and saw a boy. He had blonde hair, wore a long white-sleeved shirt like some undershirt from the 18th century, and tan pants. I watched him look toward the sun, look left, over his shoulder, and at that point I got mad. I thought this kid couldn't be more than 12 or 13, and here he was trying to peek in on me. I stomped outside, ready to grab this little shit by his ear and find out who he was and what he was doing. I get outside and he's gone. There's not many places he could hide, but there weren't any footprints in the dew-covered grass. I started to think about it, and the kid wasn't tall enough to reach the crooked blind, and there wasn't anything for him to stand on. I quickly went all around the house, tried to look for footprints anywhere, but saw no trace of the boy. I went in the house, back to my room, past my brother's room, and saw that they were still both asleep. They both have dark brown, almost black hair. It's been almost 20 years since that happened, but I'll never forget that kid. I also can't remember his eyes when I tried to picture them, so in my memory, his eyes are black. I do remember how he stood slightly crouched, his clothes, his hair, even how he turned, but never his eyes. That's weird. Phew. I'm your favorite avian. I see everyone as a regular here often. Every Tuesday this month. Taco Tuesdays. First time here, Poppy these sesame seeds. It's not his first time here. Oh my gosh. Wow. Night Companion, you are on it, man. Let me see here. This one's kind of long too. I don't even know if I want to read it. It's so long. Because the other one wasn't long, but it wasn't even scary. I'm gonna do these last like 3 ones are kind of shorter. 2 ones. 3 ones? 2 ones. Yeah, we're gonna do 2 more and then we're gonna call it a good because these are really long and that one kind of sucked. So when I was a kid, my family bought a really old, huge ass farmhouse. One day my dad decided to go add shelves to the hall closet by the front door. He does a bunch of measuring, then walks into the kitchen where me and my siblings were eating lunch. He says, paraphrase, this is really fucked up. The interior of the closet is bigger than the exterior. He called a surveyor friend who taught at the university in town, and he brought his gear and did more precise measurements. The interior was 3 inches wider, 1 inch taller, and 2 inches deeper than the exterior. We never found out what the fuck was going on, but my dad's friend brought over a couple of his friends to do more measurements. The folks at the university called up the architecture dean at the main campus for a site visit, but it was scheduled for 4 months out. We had to move, job relocation, and I always wondered what they discovered. A few years ago, I Google mapped to look at the house, and there's condos sitting where it used to be. I don't really understand. The closet was bigger on the inside. Aren't most closets bigger on the inside than the outside? I'm so confused. No, we started at 8 p.m. That's like almost 2 hours ago, and it's really hot here. Fuffle my phone. And I've been reading for almost 2 hours, so. Yeah. Yeah, bring tacos. Huge ass farmhouse. All right, this is the last one. So, I had a scary experience when I was a kid. I was 8 and fast asleep in bed. I suddenly woke up to my dog, who was also in the room, barking and viciously growling at the corner of the room. I'd never seen him or heard him like this. He was cool as a cucumber, laid back pet. He didn't have nasty bone in his body, so it instantly freaked me out. It was dark. I couldn't see anything there. My eyes started adapting to the light, and I could see him snarling and barking, and the hairs on his back standing on end. But there was nothing there that I could see. My mom came rushing in and turned the lights on. There was nothing there. She tried calming him down, moving him away from the corner, but he kept going back. She ended up taking him out of the room to make sure I was okay and then shut the door. I kept the lamp on. I was shit scared at this point. A few minutes later, Benji was back at my door, crying and scratching to get in. He'd been our family pet since I was born, and he'd never, ever done this before. I let him in and got him on the bed with me, and he sat at the end of the bed all night, ears pricked, staring at the same corner of the room. It never happened again. Nothing like that ever happened again. But that night damaged me mentally because even now at 34, when I go to sleep alone, I can't sleep without the TV on. Yeah. Crazy. That is creepy crazy. This is the last one. I'll plug this in. Subscribe to Duchess. Elamon. Good night. Don't let the bedbugs bite. Yeah. I mean, really, if the bedbugs do try to bite you, I don't think you have any control over that. They're just going to bite you. Bedbugs don't give a fuck. They're like mini honey badgers. I tell them, but most don't speak English properly to enjoy the quality of the whole thing. Oh. You know, I wish that I could speak another language. I always wanted to, but I cannot. No hablo español. Sí. Even if I could speak it, I'd do it horribly anyway. Like I'd pronounce every syllable in the word when it's definitely not how you're supposed to. ¿Tú hablas English? Isn't it inglés? Bedbugs are insidious. I think someone should do a scary movie on bedbugs. Sí, no, por qué no? Hey, Phantom Zone, we're wrapping it up here. I late, but going to try to watch the last summons. He, it's okay. I'm learning Italian for the heck of it. Wow. I think that once you already know 2 languages, learning a third one and beyond that is easier. Yeah, maybe I should. You're right, Element. You're right. You're right. Watch something that I've watched a million times in a different language. You're right. All right, I just learned something new. That's the new thing I've learned today. Okay. Actually, I knew that before. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, I'm going to thank everybody for coming. We're going to wrap it up now. Say goodnight. We'll be here every Tuesday at 8 p.m. this whole month long. I don't know what we'll do after October. We'll have to gauge it because I know that there's some people that can't make evening streams at all because of the time zone that they're in. And we'll have to gauge it and see. But as far as this month go, I'm keeping everything at 8 p.m. just because it's the consistency is what I'm trying to see. The whole month is sort of like a trying out new things to see what should stay, what should go, what should be adapted and become a permanent fixture on the channel and what shouldn't. Movie reviews, I'm kind of getting a format down. It's still a little bit stiff and awkward. I know how that sounded. Anyways, I'm getting the format down a little bit better. And some people seem to like them, but I don't know if they'll like them as a permanent fixture. Maybe it should be like an occasional thing. Freaky Friday I had a lot of fun with, but that won't be on again until a week from this Friday because some phase 3 of the Westbury experiment are out. And so that'll be up this Friday. It's really short though. Welcome, Patricia. Nope. All month long it's on Tuesdays. Man. Freaky Friday. Go back and watch my Halloween playlist. I keep attaching each thing to the Halloween playlist so that the next thing is there each time. Teeth was bad. Yeah, that was a rough one. Okay, and on that note, I'm gonna thank you for coming. I'm gonna thank everyone for coming. See you next time. Video out tomorrow at 8 p.m. Hope you guys are enjoying. Yeah, what the fudge? It's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time all month long, and live streams are on Tuesdays. Okay. All right. And on that note, I'm gonna say bye, bye, bye.